Okay, so I'm headed down to go to a Parawing demo session. It's a beautiful hot day here in Melbourne. I'm gonna pick up a big wing, hopefully, that I'm demoing, the 1540, which is the largest wing in the code wing suite, and get a paddle so that I can go when there's no wind. So that's pretty exciting. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to paddle up my board. I'm going to try that today. I also have the 1130S in the car for winging because there's some decent, potentially wind. And maybe I'll get to try the Parawing. So yeah, stoked. Okay, so I'm getting to try the Parawing here. We got the flow, and it's a 3 meter. See if I can get it up. Oh. Not really well, but it's got sand on it, that's why. Oh. There we go. So I'm doing a challenge for myself. I'm trying to do 100 days of foiling this summer, consecutively ideally.
Nice.
And film each session and make a shitty video each time.
I love it.
Yeah.
So today's the
not as
Parawing
good.
day?
This is Daniel, the foil rat. He does good videos.
So this is the Parawing day.
This is Parawing. This is just day 2.
Day 2.
It's actually, I've had like 4 consecutive days of foiling.
Nice.
But, yeah. Oh, that feels nice.
That feels stable.
It's not that much wind, so there's not a lot of force, but I'm trying to do it one-handed, which should theoretically be possible, I guess. I see a lot of people doing it.
Takes a little bit to get the feel of the front line and rear line pressure.
Now
but honestly, now it's 10 knots, so that'll be challenging.
Yeah, that luffing, is that just the wind or is that my bad handling? Why don't you try it?
Oh, look, a little bit. As soon as I touch it, people are like, oh, how do you get it to fly like that? It's just getting used to the tension in the front lines compared to the tension on the rear. And you want to have it, if I'm too rear heavy, it just drops. And if I'm too front heavy, it'll go up, but it has no steering. And this is what everybody does. It kind of just folds. So what you want is just to have it with a little bit of tension, and it feels, just put your hand up like that. It feels like I'm pushing down when I'm holding the bar. I'm pushing inwards a little bit. And if you want to have 2 hands on the bar, you can do that as well, just in between these two.
So do you want it at 12 o'clock or what?
So when you're riding, because it's very light wind right now, I would actually walk on the sand to simulate that.
Yeah.
So I would do, this is riding. This is where it stays.
Okay.
Kind of like the same height as you in the water. I use it at 12 to get in and out of the water. That's where it kind of has the least amount of pressure, and it's easy for you to handle your board, easy for you to get in, and hopefully not get tangled and all this stuff. But look, it's 10 knots, so the kite's not even flying that well.
Yeah.
But it'll make you a good
impression.
Yeah. It'll give you something to just have a feel for it, and just keep playing. It's just time.
Is the wind speed on these equivalent to a wing? So like the 5 meter, the 5 meter size would get you on foil, on an equivalent foil, and an equivalent amount of wind?
Yes, but only in that sweet spot because the range is smaller.
Okay.
So the wind range in these is very small, but you would be able to go out, let's say you go out on your 4 meter in 20 knots, you could go out on 4 and 20 knots, but you're not going to go into the top end of that with this one comfortably, and same further down.
And I think I saw your video, you said this one is that it's easier to depower, so the wind range is probably a little better, or is that wrong?
It's kind of more to do with the characteristics of the flight, because if I take the pressure of the rear lines, you can see that the kite's pretty much stable. But if I take all the rear lines of the other kites, they tend to either do like a wing tip collapse or a front, a leading edge collapse. So it's more that the kite doesn't fly well. So it'll keep opening and closing in proper wind.
Oh,
not even in high wind. If it's in its operating window and you really want to depower, I mean, we could try to do it with one just to get a sense for it. You'll see that the flying characteristics are a little bit harder. You're not as stable, so it's not as user friendly. If you could see, just notice the wing tips. They will want to bulge in a little bit when the wind comes through. And if I shoot this up, the leading edge will want to collapse as well, which it does. So it'll kind of fold on itself. So if you're on 20 knots and you want to depower, you will find that that'll keep, going and becoming unstable. So you don't have as much of a depower just because it doesn't fly well when you depower. So you have to keep it powered up. So you're juiced up, holding it on your edge and on the board rather than being able to release a little bit on the kite.
So how many years of kiting and winging experience do you have?
I started kiting, that was my first foiling, was kite foiling 4 years ago, then wing foiling 3 years ago, and then prone and downwinding after that.
How many sessions did it take you to get one of these, to get up on these, to learn how to...
I posted my first session. It's online. I got it, but I got up and I was able to stay upwind, but only because I had a winging background.
Okay.
So I knew the technique of popping up, and I'm a kiter, so I kind of understand power zone. I know that this is a little bit more neutral. I know that like this is a bit more power. So it combined everything together into kind of the one sport. So it takes people maybe a couple of sessions.
Yeah. I mean, it looks a little more finicky than a wing, but then again, if you come look at a wing from having no winging background, a wing probably looks pretty weird too.
Look, I think the wing has the advantage of it being a stable power source.
Yeah.
So it's an inflatable thing that will always have and hold its shape.
It's got more structure. Yeah.
This you have to learn how to fly a little bit. But once you have it, like, you don't look at it anymore. It becomes so tactile on the bar, how you actually feel it, that I've seen people here today, they were flying for an hour and they're talking to me, and all of a sudden I'm like, did you notice that you're just holding it like that?
Yeah.
You're not looking at it anymore? And they're like, oh yeah. At the start I couldn't even fly it. So it becomes second nature, but it takes a little bit of time, and you don't have to pump it to get into the water. You just roll it out, you're ready to go. I love that.
I mean, you can see, like, if the materials get lighter, it could even be superior in some senses. I mean, obviously, for the downwinding use case, it is superior already, but there's lots of room for
look, these are
convenience.
The first iterations of every brand, and I think in the next 6 to 12 months, there will be all the bigger players with their version of it as well, and they're just going to evolve so quickly. Like the BRM was the first one that came out. Straight after that, Entis and Flow kind of came out together as well, and they all are kind of pretty quickly catching up to.
So I have just gotten a 1540 code to demo, and I have an 1130.
Yep.
And which would you recommend trying to get up on? I mean, I've ridden the 1130 much more, obviously, so that's probably safer.
Yep.
But like with low wind, would you recommend a bigger wing to try to?
So I started. The first session that I do on anything, I put my biggest board and my biggest foil.
Okay.
Because I just want to get up. If you're not up, then you're not even learning it. So I'll just chuck on the biggest thing you have. If it's the 1540, do that. You'll need very little input to get up on the 1540. And then you'll feel what it feels like to do the sport, and you can downsize from there.
Okay, cool. I'm going to try flying them here for a bit, and then maybe I'll try.
Test them out. And see what you feel.
Okay.
If it gets a little bit stronger, then
cool.
Chuck you in the water.
All right, thanks.
Hey Dan, yo, how are you? No, got a delivery for me.
Yes, it's in the car. Did you get the other?
Okay, so we're getting ready to try to go in, try some new gear. I picked up this Kook Invisaleash. It's got a little coil, a carabiner. My other leash was very heavy. Always seemed to be getting in the way. We'll see how this one works. It should be pretty easy to set it up and might make my life slightly easier on the water. To be seen. Okay, so I've got a new foil, a new leash, and all this gear is, supposed to make things easier, but could actually work against me, and that I'm not used to it, and make things harder. So we'll see how it goes. But I don't have high hopes for my Parawing career at this stage. But who knows? With the 1540, anything could be possible. Let's see. Okay, so I've also got the Code 1540S, which is the biggest wing. So that should help a lot. And yeah, let's see. Okay, so today was a day of firsts. First time on the Parawing, first time on the 1540, first time trying to flat water paddle up. Came to the beach and Dan, the foil rat, was nice enough to show everyone a few of the different Parawing models. I tried them on the beach, and then I tried to suit up and go in the water, and I didn't even make it out. Part of the reason is the wind was light, I guess. So even trying to use it on the beach was hard. It kept sort of luffing out, which I thought was my problem, but the wind was only like 10 knots, and it's a 4-meter wing. Had a good convo with Dan about the different intricacies of the Parawing versus a normal wing, and after that we tried to go out. I got the Parawing immediately tangled up. I could totally see that happening to me on the water, which is kind of terrifying. So I don't foresee me Parawing anytime soon, but it was definitely a cool feeling holding it. It just like kind of like a very light wing, but you still felt like it had the power. So you could definitely see that's going to evolve and be something that people are going to enjoy. Maybe not just for me. Then I moved on to trying flat water paddle ups. I have a 6-foot board that's 21 inches wide and only 93 liters, and I'm 87 kilos. So you need a bit more lift out of the water, especially in the chop. It may be possible on flat water, maybe not. I may need to get a bigger downwind board, which I don't really want to do, but that may be what it takes. So yeah, didn't even get up on foil today, but I tried, and definitely going to count this as a day of trying to foil. It's a beautiful day, hot. We got lots of people out on the beach, and yeah, good time was had by all. So thanks for tuning in. I guess like and subscribe, and I will catch you later.